This artifact seemed as though it was made for that unusual lock. Now the door could be opened. Malik, the great Sarafan warrior. I had met him before. His sword and shield seemed to have gone astray. Tell me, where can I find your master? Quickly, Mobius is...
in the tower.
Good. Malik's missing shield. I hated to restore his dignity, but I would need to return this to his monument before I could progress. Malik's sword belonged in his right hand. However distasteful this errand was, I would return it to its proper place. The way to the tower now lay open before me. I looked forward to finding Mobius and resuming our conversation. Curious. This artifact, joined with the relic I discovered earlier, appeared to be but one fragment of a larger emblem. This shard was endowed with elemental fire, enhancing both the Reaver and my telekinetic powers.
Here you are at last. I see you found a fragment of the balance emblem. This will be of even further use to you, if you can find the other three. Now, shall we?
Yes. Let us continue our conversation, but on a somewhat different footing. Now, what do you have to tell me, Mobius?
You cannot kill me. We both know that this is not how or when I die.
Death is not the only possible outcome.
Your delusions of fulfilling the vampire's foolish prophecies have badly distorted your judgment. And Raziel is not what you think.
You dare imagine what I think.
So, you prevented Raziel's soul from entering the Reaver. Do you believe for a moment that by this you have averted your fate? Or his? Or that of Nosgoth itself? Your manipulations are pathetic.
Yet Raziel retains his free will, and that's what frightens you, isn't it, Mobius? You cannot see his path, and so you cannot control it.
And neither can you. Yes, Raziel is shrouded from us, but we see the ripples of his potential actions, and every path he might choose leads to the same outcome. He will kill you, Kain. In sparing Raziel, you have written your own death sentence.
You still have not answered the question I came to ask. Where is Raziel?
He is not, in a true sense, here. Not now.
Don't try my patience, Mobius. What have you done with him?
He is contained. In time, it may be safe to release him. His destiny must be completed. He will enter the sword. But until that time, he is dangerous. Far more dangerous than you could understand.
And your incontrovertible evidence?
The answers are plain, if you know where to look. Go west of the pillars. There you will find a testament written in stone.
But stones, too, can lie. The pillars of Nosgoth stood pristine against the horizon. To the west, I would find the enlightenment Mobius felt I lacked.
There had to be a way to escape the spirit world without the help my master was pleased to deny me. Only in the material realm would I have a chance to seek my destiny, or change it. An ancient gate, sealed by the powers of light and darkness, barred the way to the pillars beyond. To depart this place and continue my journey, I would have to find the means to open it. In this crypt, I discovered ethereal gases rising from the mouldering corpse within. As I neared, I felt a distinct spiritual pull, and the closer I approached, the more that pull intensified. In the end, it was not difficult. I projected myself down into that tomb and found myself reborn into the material world. It was a loathsome vessel, but with an effort of will, that too could change. These gargoyles quickened as I drew near, triggering the door to close. I would need to find some means of approaching the door without being observed.
She says she won't go near the place.
I tell you, the pillars are haunted.
Haunted?
I heard a woman's voice talking and moaning, and there was no one there.
How many vampires have you killed? And you can't face down one ghost?
I knew who these were. Vampire hunters, scouring the countryside, destroying what had once been my kind.
My God, what is that? A vampire or a demon?
Where?
Here.
Get him!
Quickly! No mercy!
These were Mobius's hunters, mercenaries enlisted in his crusade to exterminate the vampires. His insignia was unmistakable. But this meant I'd been captive in the underworld for centuries. I had lost 500 years. Then I knew what ghost it was that haunted the pillars. Ariel, the spectre of the murdered Balan's guardian. Perhaps she could provide the answers I sought. But first I would have to find a way out of this cemetery. This temple's facade hinted at some ancient vampire origin, for it bore the sign of the Reaver and was marked with the elemental symbol of light. The mystery of the Reaver might be answered within, but this edifice was too high for me to reach.
Raziel, fallen hero, renegade and traitor.
What is this? How do you know me?
Raziel, what are you? Why should they know your name? You are nothing.
It seemed my method of entering the physical realm was not altogether original. But where had these beings come from? This edifice, marked with the elemental light symbol, was clearly much older than the ruins in the rest of the cemetery. The door was far too high to reach, and to open it, it seemed the Reaver would need to be imbued with the power of darkness. Clearly, I had more to accomplish before I could discover what lay within. As I stepped through, I felt a sense of displacement, as some arcane sorcery transported me away. This was clearly an ancient ruin of a vampire civilization. Perhaps here I would finally decipher the riddle of my destiny. Throughout these ruins, I found murals depicting the seminal events of vampire history. These scenes commemorated a great war between the ancient vampires and their rivals. In triumph, they banished their adversaries from the world and raised the pillars as the lock that binds them. The image of the Reaver was inscribed throughout this place, always depicted with reverence. The vampire's holy weapon was destined to be borne by their prophesied hero, for whom it was forged. But if this was my destiny, why had the Reaver tried to consume me? At last it was done. The Reaver was forged with darkness. As I felt this new power coursing within the Wraithblade, I knew that now the Light Temple would open to me. Against all odds, I had stumbled into Kain's own mausoleum. This seemed an unlikely coincidence. The Reaver did not seem to activate this orb. I had to find the means to enhance the blade further. Again, I experienced an odd sense of displacement as I was transported to the vampire ruin once more. But this chamber was different than the first. In their defeat, the vampire's enemy retaliated with a terrible curse, afflicting the vampires with a bloodthirst that turned their once noble race into ravenous predators. This curse plunged the vampires into despair and apparently drove many to madness and self-annihilation. What was it that so devastated them that they were driven to suicide? I had succeeded. The Reaver was forged with the power of light, and now my way was clear. I would seek out Ariel at the pillars and see if she could enlighten me. I had the means now to depart the cemetery. I only needed to find the gate that would send me on my way. At last, the gate yielded to the powers of light and darkness with which the Reaver had been forged. The way to the pillars was open.